Chapter 21. Anila rode up to the palace courtyard, passing numerous islanders. Wilhelmina stood, rubbing her hands before her. Anila dismounted and ran to her trusted maid.
"Wilhelmina, are you all right?" "Yes, my lady. It's just, I was so worried about you. And the people, they're saying the dead have risen from their graves. There have been several sightings."
"I know." Anila grabbed the maid's shoulders firmly.
"Have you seen Andor or my son?" "Andor? Your son?"
She put a hand to her mouth.
"No, my lady, I haven't seen him."
Anila turned to her people, who were pouring into the courtyard. It devastated her that the remaining islanders could all fit in this fairly small space, but the island had been through much in the past year.
"People of Dargo, no, this island will no longer be known by that name. From this day forward, it will be called Rapatha."
She paused to let her people digest this news.
"Fellow Rapathians, the island is dying. It was wounded when the rock fell from the sky. The island's heart, Rapatha, will soon perish if she is not saved."
Right on cue, the island shook violently, knocking a few people off their feet.
"What can we do, my lady?"
a man asked from the crowd, returning to his feet.
"At this time, nothing. Josh and someone else are working to save her. I address you now to give you a choice. Should they fail, the island will be destroyed. If you wish it, you may leave the island."
The crowd, consisting of a little over 20 people, gasped. Anila had expected that.
"Will you leave, my lady?"
an old woman asked.
"No, I cannot. My son is missing. Andor has taken him. If anyone has seen them, tell me now."
No one spoke.
"As I thought,"
Anila said sadly.
"As to the news of the dead rising, it is true. It's a side effect of the damage done to Rapatha. The dead won't harm you. They are just spirits."
Her words didn't comfort as well as she'd hoped. "If you choose to stay," a man said, "we will stay too." Anila nodded.
"Thank you." "And we will help you find the prince,"
the old woman said. "I may know where he is," a male voice said from the back of the group. People gasped and backed away, allowing a dark figure to approach Anila. She couldn't quite see his face, but the others seemed afraid of him. She heard a few murmurs of,
"He has returned,"
and
"The king lives."
That last one made Anila's heart race. She immediately thought of Reese. She ran toward the crowd, toward her husband. When she reached her people, she came face to face with the figure. She gasped. It was the man from the hill, the one she thought looked familiar. He was still dressed in his green burial robes, his long black hair pulled into a ponytail. His face was painted half blue and half yellow, split right down the middle. "Hello, Anila," the man said.
"Hello, father."
The courtyard grew quiet as everyone took in the strange scene. After what Anila had just told them, she wasn't sure if this helped her case or hurt it. But she didn't care. She was with her father again. She suddenly looked around.
"Is mother here too?"
"I'm afraid not, sweetheart. She has been gone too long. I'm sorry it took me so long to approach you. I was afraid of how you would react." Anila nodded. She wanted to hug him, but knew he was only a spirit. "I am very proud of you," he said. "I know it can't have been easy, becoming the queen at such a young age, but I know you have done a wonderful job at it. You are a much better leader than I ever was." Anila continued to stand silently. "As for Andor," Talino went on, "I saw him. I know where he went."
"Take me to him,"
Aneela finally said through gritted teeth. Andor stood on the small second island, staring at the large cliffs that made up the coast of Dargo Island. He held little Maximus in his arms. The baby hadn't cried the entire time he was in the man's possession. It was quite impressive. He would have made a good king. Andor saw them coming, dark shapes making their way from the main island in groups of 3. It appeared Aneela finally found him. The boats reached the small island's shore, and Aneela came running up the grassy hill toward him. Her 3 remaining guards followed her, along with the human doctor, Shay. The dwarf was nowhere in sight. There was someone else behind the guards, someone familiar. No, it couldn't be. "King Tolino?" Andor called, trying to hide his surprise. "It's nice to see you again. I see even giants can't keep you down." "It wasn't the giants that killed me," Tolino said. "It was Rockne. But you can rest assured you will die." "So sure of yourself, aren't you?" Andor kissed Maximus's forehead. "Someone will definitely die tonight." Astrid flew toward the mountains, to the valley with the constantly frozen pond, and the entrance to the former giant's kingdom. She didn't know where everyone was, but she remembered where they'd been going before she went off to tame the weather over Dallas. She flew through the ice and down the hole in the ground far below. She found herself in a large cavern filled with green and purple crystals. Between the large stalactite and stalagmite stood a green figure glowing brightly.
"Rapatha?"
Astrid called.
"Is that you?" "Yes, you must be Astrid." "I am." She flew up to Rapatha. "Where is everyone?" "I don't know. I can't sense them as well as I used to. I'm growing weaker." "Is anyone helping you?" "Yes. Josh and Rockne went off to retrieve something that may help, but they haven't returned. May I ask you something?" "Of course." "Are you a nature demon?" "Yes. How did you know?"
Astrid could see a faint smile in the green light.
"I used to be one too." "Really? What happened?" "I ran away. I was afraid of the responsibility that would fall on me once my father perished. That's how I ended up in this mess in the first place." "Oh."
That saddened Astrid.
"Do you regret your decision?"
Rapatha was a long time in replying, but she finally said,
"No. I became a home for many lost souls. I can ask for no greater joy." "I was born here, you know,"
Astrid said, wiping tears from her cheeks.
"You've been my home for all of my life. Thank you." "You're welcome, child."
Rapatha sighed.
"Is it difficult, being a nature demon, I mean?"
Astrid considered the question for a few seconds before saying,
"Yes, but, like you, I can think of no greater joy."